before they came to police?
Well, I'm sure they did. Nancy, look, they did what they were supposed to do, and they spoke to police officers. And you know as well as I do that if investigators or a DA's office had any sort of probable cause to make an arrest in a case like this, they would. They would have.
Or they may be gathering evidence to make sure they got all the evidence that there is. I mean, I would wait until I had all the evidence, including a completed autopsy. You know what? I'm going to jump ahead. But regarding the body, regarding Nolan's body, we've heard all sorts of inflammatory things. But the one thing that, well, many things.
Yeah, many things. We are many things, but one thing we not is stupid. You know, you got the lawyers over here swearing to God these dudes ain't had nothing to do with nothing, but they don't know nothing about nothing. You know what I mean? We don't know who did what, but we know these boys ain't do it. You're double speaking. You're double speaking. How you gonna say you know for sure these guys ain't do nothing, but you don't know what happened? My man, I don't know who you think you're playing with. Both these lawyers, man. The Cox hat lawyer and this other fake Santa Claus ass, face-in-the-face ass dude. Y'all already know my motto, man. Long as it ain't Monday, man, cuz.
Monday is the worst, first day of the week. Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep. Tuesday's the one day, feels like a Sunday, and if it wasn't for Monday, I wouldn't even notice. Wednesday's the hump day, get you out the slump day. Thursday's the day before that bread, so you pump day. Friday's the next, direct deposit. And now it's the weekend, and you didn't realize it.
2 days off, yes sir. It's your boy Dabrand, don't know us, we about to get at it. Smartest update on this Nolan Wells situation, cause they tryna pull the wall, y'all. What's your opinion? What's your thoughts? Plenty for your thoughts in the comment section. Plenty for your thoughts in the comment section. Y'all already know. Hold on. See, they playing with us over here. Yeah. Let's see if we can make it happen. We did add the new link, right? Okay, so forget about it. Alright, let's get to work. It's your boy Brandon knows we at it. Y'all already know, Monday is the worst, first day of the week. Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep. Tuesday's the one day that feels like a Sunday, but if it wasn't for Monday, I wouldn't even notice. Wednesday's the hump day, get you out the slump day. Thursday's the day before that bread, so you pump day. Friday's the next, direct deposit. It's the weekend, baby, didn't realize it.
Monday is the worst, first day of the week. Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep. Tuesday's the one day that feels like a Sunday, and if it wasn't for Monday, I wouldn't even notice. Wednesday's the hump day, get you out the slump day. Thursday's the day before that bread, so you pump day. Friday's the next, direct deposit. Now it's the weekend, and you didn't realize it.
We ain't realize it, but we do realize when somebody trying to pull a wool over our eyes. 40 rolls. Yeah. All right, so that being said, let's see what they actually trying to say, and then we're gonna get into Tisha Tales. Right now, we're gonna get into a little bit of this Nancy Grace, because you know they say her word is what it is, and for some reason she couldn't get these lawyers to admit to nothing, to knowing they don't know nothing. But the only thing they sure is that these good old boys ain't had nothing to do with that. Check it out.
Are very interesting and probative. For instance, why was Nolan's neck of so much interest to the original medical examiner that it was removed? His foot wasn't removed. His toe wasn't removed. His ear wasn't removed. Why his neck? The lungs and the neck were removed, which obviously Edward Pulsick touches on COD, cause of death. I understand why the medical examiner took his lungs. He had to run tests on them to determine, did he drown? Of course, all three of us know you can drown and there still be foul play. somebody whacked you on the head, if somebody held you underwater. It could be any number of things. Or it could be an innocent drowning. But why the throat? What was curious about the throat, Ed? Were there marks on the throat? Was there a ligature mark? Was there manual strangulation? Was there a compression? Were there bruises? Were there scratches? I don't know. Was a hyoid missing? I could go on, but I won't. Do either of you know what was of interest to the medical examiner in the removal of Nolan's throat?
First of all, you're in the middle of an investigation, all right? Let's be logical here, man. Come on, man. Let's make sense of what's going on, all right? They knew that the Nolan Wells people was gonna want a second autopsy, right? So how is it possible that they can keep anything from the second autopsy, man, which his parents paid for? Clearly they didn't get their money's worth. Because y'all kept parts and pieces that we need to literally clarify the situation. Why would they do that? You have to ask yourself, why would they keep parts and pieces? Or another thing, let's ask ourselves this, right? They knew that the Wells family was going to want a second autopsy, right? Why did not they wait for the other coroner to make it to town? Like, yo, we're going to do this together, man, because we don't want no discrepancies. So let's wait for their autopsists to come to town, right? Right? And we do this together. That was one thing they could have did, right? All right, so number two, what they could do, because when you do an autopsy, right, don't they got cameras in the room? They videotaping this whole thing, right? Where's all that footage? Turn that over to the Wells family. Show the Wells family the autopsy that the state did, right? What is this thing where you're gonna keep it under wraps until the you get it in front of the? Come on, man. No, man. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's like they doing what they want to do, man. Like, that's not how this goes, man. If the shoe was on the other foot, man, people's phones be confiscated, boats would be confiscated, people would be locked up, sitting in different interrogation rooms, being grilled. But for some reason, all that procedure went out the window when it came to these good old boys down there in Mississippi. You heard what his lawyer said? These are some good old boys. Some good old boys, and they members. Members of what? Nothing they've been saying so far is adding up, man. You know what I mean? Warren said the story about them going in the restaurant, right? And the girl, I guess she was the waiter or something, came up, is this you? Is this you on the video? Is this you? And that terrified him so much, he had to get out. He blew it. He left his friends sitting there and all that. The same way he left Nolan. When Nolan was on the beach and he claimed he was so drunk that, you know what I mean? He been drinking so much that he had to been so drunk that he just walked off and drowned. Remember when he left him on Horns Island like that? Same thing he did to his boys in the restaurant. Got a whiff of some trouble, he was out. Right? Is this you? Is this you? Yeah, that gotta be you. And he blew it, right? Left his friend sitting right there. His friend said after them niggas left, somebody sitting next to him said, listen, man, if I was you, I'll follow your friends and get on up out of here, man, because these people might try to do something to you, man. You know? They don't like the way this Nolan Wells thing is going down, so they might try to do something to you. So if I was you, young man, I'd get up out of here. Huh? No, nobody believes this story, but this is what they're trying to tell us. You know what I mean? With everything going on, why would you even attempt to go to a restaurant? All of you guys together. That don't even make no sense. All the prime suspects goes to that sounds like a joke, right? Here it is. Now listen, all the prime suspects walk into a restaurant together. It sounds like you get ready to start a joke, man. You are rich kids. There's no reason for y'all to be going to restaurants. Especially not at this time. And Warren, you done lost so much weight, you ain't eating anyway. So what are you talking about here? Look at your face, man, from the time you went on the bootlicker show to now. You look like two different people, boy. You know? Let's get into it.
I'll tell you this. Listen, we're not coroners. We're not medical examiners. We want to know what happened to him just as much as everyone else. Quite frankly,
We don't think you do. We think you out here with these boys trying to paint a narrative that's false. And then you're threatening people like you tough, like you that gangster. Like you a descendant of John Gotti's son. My man. Knock it off. Call Cox. Let's go.
more. Because Nolan was their best friend. Warren, Morgan, Jax. Nolan was their best friend. We want to know what happened. We haven't examined Nolan's body. We're not scientists.
But the state of Mississippi has. Right? And they finished the autopsy. Like, they got the report sitting right there. They don't want to share it up. Not with you guys, obviously, and definitely not with the parents. They just want to give it to the grand jury. Huh? But what are they giving to the grand jury? Do we know? Hold on. Do we know? Do we know what it is that they're trying to present to the grand jury? All the evidence they get ready to show to the grand jury might clarify these boys straight out. It might just say Nolan Wells drowned. You know what I mean? But if that's the case, why we gotta wait to the grand jury to find that out? Why run us through the mill, have people talking all this crazy nonsense every day if you all already know what it is? Huh? That's crazy, man, but, you know, let's go, man.
Great Prosecco.
Okay, that's commercial time, y'all. And that means at this point in time in the junction in the show, I'm going to let you know that this part of the show is being sponsored by thestickermill.com. If you go to thestickermill.com /, y'all know what a / is, right? Dabrand, that's me. And your first 10 stickers is on the house. So I advise you to upload some of them pretty pictures of yourself just to test it out. You know what I'm saying? Get those stickers back. See if you like them. And if you like them, do the right thing, baby. Go back to thestickermill.com /Dabrand. Order up some new stickers. And let's get it popping. It's your boy, Brando knows. Let's go.
So let me go to the point where they bring up that picture. Oh, here it goes right here. So the picture that I showed you guys on Facebook.
This is what we saying. They always showing pictures like this. The man got his back turned, can't see his face at all. Like, what is clearly this is not a still picture. Somebody just took a still picture because it was moving, right? They couldn't catch the picture nowhere where this man was looking at the camera. They always showing us some type of evidence when you cannot tell who that really is, right? They said the boy had on blue shorts. Those don't look blue to me at all, right? Then they say there was no adults, and if that's Nolan on a boat, and they clearly say there was no adults, who was the old man sitting right there? You understand? Who was the old man sitting right there on the boat? Y'all probably can't see it right now, but I'm going to get around to showing y'all that in a little while when we get into the Tisha Tell situation. Y'all see Tisha on the screen. She up next. We just going to go with a little bit of Monique at night. You know what I mean? So, yeah, let's go.
Cox, where did the witnesses see them? Do they know him well enough to make a positive ID? Hey, speaking of a positive ID, control room, please pull up a photo that we showed a couple of days ago.
Listen to these
There
lawyers,
are
man.
2 or 3
They don't know
women,
nothing.
white females, walking along the beach, as I recall, each clad in a bikini. There is one, I believe, a white male and one black male walking with them. That, can you,
Even that picture there, like, you got 3 white girls, 1 white boy, and the black dude, right, that they claim is Nolan, he's behind one of the white girls. Out of all the pictures that they could have sent, right, they sent a picture of the dude standing behind somebody. You can't even make out his face. All you can see is the blue trunks, man. This is what they call evidence. If we was to try to pull up, talking about, yo, this evidence, man, they would throw that, man, get this out of here, man. They don't know, they ain't going for that. But they expect us to go for this. Which is how could you possibly say that that's Nolan? You can't even see the man's face. He's standing behind someone. Look, all you can see is this, man. His head, yo, listen, man, come on, man, knock it off.
in a little bit. That's not really helping me that much. For instance, did your witnesses know Nolan? Can they identify him? Because I'm looking right at this and I cannot identify if the male behind the female on the white, the female wearing a white
I can't tell, y'all.
hat. I can't tell if that's Nolan or not. It's a very blurry photo. I can't make it out.
See what I'm saying?
So,
they doctor the photo before they put it out there. First of all, they put it in a position where you can really just not see him, and then they blur it out a little bit even. For these to be some of the richest people in Ocean Springs, they got some bootleg phones that take some pretty nasty pictures, man. Huh? Unbelievable, man.
Witnesses know him? I mean, let me see my guess, please. Mr. Paltzik, Mr. Cox, I know the two of you. I don't see both of them. There they are. The two of you have tried a lot of cases, as have I.
All right. So that's when they brought up that photo that I had showed you guys prior. Now, let me go to the part where they talk about the boat. Now, the boat, remember when Batum Tatum said, didn't he say something along the lines that they have cooperated with investigators even with the boat? I have to look up exactly what he said. I didn't have time before this live, but I found it interesting that Batum Tatum tried to make it seem like the boat had already been investigated and that the boat was already excluded. That's the interpretation that I got from what I heard.
And that's what the bootlicker does. You know what I mean? He keep presenting evidence like it's facts. You understand? He clearly tried to make all of us believe that these dudes took a polygraph test. Am I right? He ain't trying to make it seem like these dudes took a polygraph test and everybody passed except for one. And then why not say the one? You got to pry it out of them like you pulling teeth. Well, who's the one who didn't take it? Well, it was Warren. The main character of the story is the one who didn't take this fake polygraph test that the bootlicker was trying to convince us that they took. It wasn't even a polygraph test. It was a voice analyzing stress test or some crazy nonsense, right? But he clearly got in, so these boys are innocent. They all took polygraphs. They all passed. Stop using the word polygraph to describe something that's not a polygraph, because you're trying to pull the wool over our eyes when you do that. Mr. Tatum, bootlicker, right?
Heard from him before. Now, I do have to go and look to see exactly what he said, but I found it interesting that there is a situation with this boat. There's audio, there is a disappearance, and this was the last boat that Nolan was seen on. Now, when he was asked about the boat and whether or not the police had...
Yeah, that's right, because listen, every one of them that explained what boat Nolan went on, nobody could actually tell us what boat Nolan got on. They just say he went back to his boat. Well, what boat was that, by the way? Huh? If we trying to clarify things, right? What was the name on the side of the boat that Nolan actually got on, mister? Huh? Because they all said it, right? What's his name? Trevance? He said the last time he saw Nolan was in passing. Him and his girl just came out of one crowd and was headed towards their boat. They walked past Nolan when he was headed towards his boat. right? And 10 minutes later, he got into a fight. And his uncle looked at him, and they stopped fighting, and he jumped on the boat. And he was so upset, his uncle said, "We got to get you up out of here, man. We got to leave," right? Now, for one, I'm a little confused as to why people is not adding that boat that Tristan was on to the situation. Because Tristan is the one who tied up all the boats, right? He the one who said when they pulled in, he told everybody where to park. Go back to his interview with the bootlicker, and clearly he said he was supposed to have been rolling out with Warren and Nolan and all. He was supposed to have been with them. But unfortunately, at the last minute, his uncle called him and told him, "Yo, I'm going to need you to help me work this boat because we going out. They had at least 11 people on the boat they was on. So all the people that you and your uncle brought, because remember, his uncle needed him to help him with the boat because the people that they were taking out wasn't going to do the things that you need to do to operate the boat while you out on the water. Ain't that what he told us? So his job was to help his uncle take out a bunch of other people to Horns Island. So being that Tristan got into a fight, everybody's trip was ended early. Everybody that was on that boat, right? They all had to leave at 3 o'clock, according to this guy, right? They left at 3. The last time Warren said he saw Nolan was 3, right? Let's think about it, y'all. Let's put Tristan on the scene. Let's put him there. He said he was supposed to roll out with Nolan and them, with Warren and them, with Bart and all of them. But his uncle called him and said, "Listen, man, I need you to help me do this boat, man, because you know these people ain't going to help me with none of the things that you need to do when you out here on the sea with the boat." So him and his uncle and the people that he had on that boat already left. They left 30 minutes because I got the timeline. I read it down every time they said. He said they arrived around 10 o'clock. 10:30, the rest of the other 3 boats pulled in. They was already stationed, so he told everybody, pull in here, pull in here, pull in here, pull in here. So all 3 of them boats, 4 of those boats should have been tied up together right there, right? Then after the fight, he was so mad that his uncle had to get him up out of there. And in that whole scenario, there was no reason for this man to be yelling for his phone. None. I can't see no reason why he would have been saying, "Give me back my phone." Because for one, when the last time you saw Nolan, you went that way, he went this way. Clearly, you and your girl went and got in the water. So you didn't have your phone on you at this time. Right? Clearly, you didn't have your phone on you at this time because you and your girl was in the water. You said you and your girl was in the water. You told your girl, "Yeah, I just want another beer." And she told you, "Well, go get it yourself." And then she dove under the water like Aquawoman and disappeared. Because shortly after that, the fight commenced. Dude told you, "Yo, man, I don't like the way you be talking to your girl like that, man." You know what I'm saying? Why do all these Caucasian guys got a problem with the way you black guys are talking to your white girls? Explain that one. And why is it that everybody that came in with y'all got into some type of altercation on that island? Everybody. Except for the one person that winds up missing and dead. Except for the one person whose phone y'all got. Right? Why is that? Can you explain that one to us? Because it ain't making no sense, bruh. You said you was in the water, so your phone should have been on the deck, on the dock, right? On the boat. Your phone should have been on the boat, bruh. So why was you yelling for your phone? Who was you telling to get your phone to if your phone was already on the boat, bruh? You know what I mean? Come on, man. They just think they could tell us anything, man. And we just supposed to fall for that. And then they mad when we don't. Like, what? They be mad when we don't go for it, y'all. That's crazy to me, man.
Not because I didn't want it badly enough.
Wow. All right. Every time they do a commercial, man, I'm gonna do a commercial, man. So this segment of my show is gonna be sponsored by the Human Tripod. What is a human tripod, man, you ask? Right now we in the times of podcasting and live streaming, and everybody needs a cameraman. Thus, that's your answer. Human Tripod is a cameraman that you can order at a drop of the hat by going to humantripod@gmail.com and leaving a date, a time, somebody could call you back and lock your date in. Human Tripod.
Situation with this boat. There's audio, there is a disappearance, and this was the last boat that Nolan was seen on. Now, when he was asked about the boat and whether or not the police have checked it out, they have not.
Wow.
And so I find that interesting, and they want us to believe, oh, trust Mississippi. They're actually doing a thorough investigation. Trust the findings that you're going to get. Trust that they have left no stone uncovered. Trust that they have went the extra mile to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. They have checked off every box, right? That's what they want us to believe when they give us the hogwash of the results, right? They want to make it seem like Black people and other people who question the integrity of this investigation are just crazy cuckoo birds that are living in the past.
Facts, right?
Facts, we have no.
Listen, they said it pissed me off when Warren said clearly the tape was altered and people are just gonna hear what they want to hear. My man, if you trying to sit there and say that a million motherfuckers didn't hear what they heard, you out of your goddamn mind. You out of your mind, youngster. And I don't know who sat up there and told you to say some silly shit like that, but that ain't it. And if I was you, I'd go back and recant that, bruh. Because you're not about to sit there and tell me and everybody else that heard what we heard on that tape that we ain't hear what we heard, bruh. Because you bugging. You really bugging. You literally bugging. Only person that hasn't heard what we heard on those tapes is people that you guys have paid off. Then we're going to cross every T and dot every I, right? Which means all these people that y'all trying to pay under the table to make y'all look like these good, upstanding young men, we're going to keep our eyes on them, right? Follow the money, baby. Follow the money.
Reason to suspect that a thorough investigation is not being done. But then you have Tweedledee and Tweedledummer. Now, they are lawyers. They did pass the bar, and they are representing in these clients. So I'm not going to say Tweedledee and Tweedledum as in they're not smart, because they're smart enough to be lawyers. But Tweedledee and Tweedledum as far as they just look goofy to me. Okay, they look goofy. They sound goofy. Their responses sound goofy. Again, not saying that they're not smart, because again, they went to law school. I didn't. They just look like Dumb and Dumber to me. But they want us to believe, okay, these MAGA losers, right? Not them. I'm not talking about them, but them and the MAGA losers. Okay, the MAGA crowd that are racist, and I'm not talking about everybody who voted for MAGA or everybody that's white. I'm talking as specific individuals who are MAGA and who are racist and who are losers. They're appealing to them, right? And so this particular crowd wants us to believe that we're just making things up out of thin air. We're delusional about the investigation, that we should trust the process. Well, if we're to trust the process, why is it a month later of a high-profile investigation?
And we don't know nothing. They ain't turned over nothing to prove these dudes did nothing as of yet. Even though we got a CETO tape, right? Let's take a look at that. As Wyatt was on the phone with the CETO lady, telling her that we're going down, right? Obviously, the grandfather was on the phone with the boat captain, telling him we good. We good, right? But then they go on Officer Batum Tatum, the bootlicker show, once again and says, why would we call for a tow if we had a body on board? Technically, you didn't call for a tow, man. You called for an alibi because your grandfather canceled the tow before you even made it. But your grandfather canceled the tow before you was even able to get off of the phone telling the lady you was sinking. If you ask me, that right there proves that all the guilt that we need, because dude was on the phone with the CETO lady, and at the same time his grandfather was on the phone with the boat captain, the tow boat captain, telling him we don't need no help. The lady asked him, do you want me to call the Coast Guard? Duke said no. But yet they get on the show and they say, why would we call the Coast Guard? First of all, you didn't call the Coast Guard till hours later, bruh. Hours later. See, so don't make it seem like y'all rushed to call these people. Y'all didn't, man. You didn't call a tow because you canceled it. Right? You're showing us a tape that was supposed to be y'all calling a tow, but there's a boat already attached to y'all towing y'all. So make it make sense, bruh. Let's go.
Investigation, and the actual boat that Nolan was on has not been checked out by the police. Let's go to this video, and I don't know why my mods have not got this person out of the chat that is desperately looking for attention, but go somewhere else and seek attention, boo.
I think anything happened out in the plain view on the beach, but there are other alternatives.
I want to add, though, we have a difference of opinion. When I see that video of the boats in the water there, that also is not a good place to get away with murder. Now,
you see how this dumbass lawyer don't make no sense? It's like he putting this, it's like they telling us what happened, right? But want us to believe the opposite. Meaning, he gonna sit here and tell us, as you see that picture you're showing, there's thousands of people. There's no way that a murder could take place with thousands of people looking. Exactly. That's exactly what we telling you. There's no way that something like that could have happened in front of thousands and thousands of people with nobody seeing it. There's no way that Nolan could just walk off into the abyss with thousands and thousands of people looking and nobody see him walk off into the abyss. You fucking goofy. This dude is a straight goofy, man. I don't know who told this guy that he is a good attorney. He was representing Trump. He ain't get Trump off. Trump still got all those damn charges.
Been very careful. We have refrained from speculation. We have refrained from guessing, and we're going to continue to do that. However, plain view of that scene, the beach, the boats, the water, that is not a secretive environment. It just isn't.
I agree the beach is not secretive, and I also agree the whole island is not secretive because there's really nowhere to hide there anyway. Guys, let me move to the boat, the Triton. Has the boat been searched by authorities?
I do not believe that it has been.
Why you don't know, lawyer? Lawyer. Why you don't know whether or not the boat been searched, man? Huh? Why would they lawyer not know whether or not the boat has been searched or not? Your clients own the boats. Your clients should have been able to, yeah, they checked the boat already. Bop, 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 bop. Which I ain't had that discussion with them. Did y'all ask them even? Yo, did they search your boats and get an answer from them? Or did you just don't care? Because they ain't part of the cover-up that y'all got going on. Come on, man.
Searched by authorities, but it's been available to authorities this entire time.
So the authorities are the negligent ones here? Because the boats have been available to them and they just refuse to go and search them, right? So they botching the situation, right? They're the ones that's playing with the evidence, right? They're the ones that's trying to help cover this up, right? That's what you're saying, Mr. Lawyer? Because they're the ones that ain't searched the boat yet, right? If your clients were so innocent, why they ain't go request for the police? Yo, bring your cadaver dogs, all that, man. Go on the boat, man. Let the people see it wasn't nothing on here, man. Why they ain't jump to the gun and do all that? They jump into the gun to run the Officer Tatum bootlicker show and spew nonsense. Huh? Your boy sat up there and told us to our face that what we were hearing with our own eyes was a figment of our imaginations. Now, what I would have to say to your boy Warren to that is go fuck yourself, you little anorexic looking motherfucker. Okay? Because I know what I heard, bruh. You said she altered the tape. Yo, so I guess she was in her crib and happened to have Bart's voice, and first of all, she didn't even know Bart was a part of the situation until she heard Bart's name being mentioned on the toe tape, right? But before seeing ahead of time, she had Bart's voice, Wyatt's voice, and Warren's voice, and the girl screaming Nolan's voice, all them voices she had on lock already, so when she altered the tape, she could add all that to there, right? Or did she say, AI, put Warren's voice, and AI just automatically knew what they sound like, right? Hey, Goofy, you ain't nobody believing your story, man. Nobody. Ain't nobody believing your story, man. Like, it's just not believable, man.
If authorities wanted to come see it, they're more than able to, and have been.
Okay, I find that very interesting, Tyler, and I'll tell you why. In so many cases that I've prosecuted and covered and investigated, you see defendants, targets, trying to get rid of evidence. You see them cleaning the boat. You see them washing it down. You see them trying all sorts of methods to get rid of evidence. It's interesting to me and somewhat probative that your clients have offered the boat up to law enforcement to come and search it. I'm curious, has the boat not just been searched with the naked eye? Has luminol been used on the boat? Has alternative light sources been used on the boat? Has a cadaver dog come to the boat? Has a scent dog come to the boat? To your knowledge, either one of you.
To my knowledge, Nancy, I do not believe that has happened. But again, my three clients, either one of them, none of them own that boat.
All right. So, as you can see, these lawyers, they're threatening lawsuits. They're shaking, the intimidation tree. And they're visiting the island. They're going out there. And you mean to tell me, not to my knowledge. Okay, so you know whether or not the boat has been checked out or not. And Nancy Grace, she confronts them on that. Now, I am not a fan of Nancy Grace because I don't think that she is... I don't think that she is, what's the right word? I'll come back to y'all. But yeah, I'm not a fan of her, okay? But she's interviewing them and she is asking the right questions. And if they want us to believe that a thorough investigation has happened, then by now the boat should have been searched. It should have been tested.
It should have been searched, and you dudes, as the client's lawyers, should know whether it's been searched or not. So for them to sit there and try to tell you, well, we don't really know, it's not our client's boats, man, y'all sound like the worst lawyers on the planet. I don't know who will hire you guys, man. Facts.
Their word is not bond. Just because these good all American men said so is not good enough, okay? And because the boat has not been checked out, that to me tells me a lot. Because how do you not check the last place Nolan was? Even if you believe their word, why not do a thorough check? And
For real, because if the shoe was on the other foot, once again, we're just going to keep using that analogy, the boats would have been confiscated already. And they wouldn't care who boat it was. You understand? The boats would have been confiscated. They'd be like, whatever boats was involved. And they went and got those boats too. This is what they do. We've seen them do it. So why they not doing that in this situation is what's really baffling. Because this is what they do. They kick in your door if they think you have some information in there that prove that you did something, man. They take every computer out your house. Huh? But now, that rule don't apply. Y'all know exactly the last boat Nolan was known to be on because Warren sat there and said when we went out, Nolan was on the 22-foot Triton, right? So that boat automatically should have been confiscated. Warren puts himself on two different boats. He put himself on the 22 and the 24-foot with Bart, right? So what's to say that when y'all dock Nolan and step on all three boats? You understand?
double check and make sure. Is it because... never mind. Let's continue to listen.
So if it has, you would have to ask the owners.
Tyler, do I look like I just fell off the turnip truck? Maybe I do, because we did sell turnips at the farmer's market when I was growing up. That said, you telling me my clients don't own the boat, so you'd have to ask the owner. Come on, you and Paulsick know if the boat has been searched. You know if cadaver dogs or scent dogs, luminol or alternative light has been used on the boat. Can you just tell me? Yes, no. It's not your client's fault. It's law enforcement's fault if they haven't done it.
If authorities thought that there was something to find on that boat, don't you think this far out they would have already done it?
I would think in the ordinary course of an investigation into potential foul play, I would have gone out there and done it. Just
if you believe that.
That was a dumb question because obviously we think they should have been done it. So now the question back to you, you stupid ass lawyer, is why didn't they? Why didn't they test the boats? You said you don't know. So if they didn't, why didn't they do it as of yet? Huh? Goofy ass.
Potential foul play.
just to say I searched it and it was clean. I didn't find any blood.
Well, Nancy,
Cadaver
you're
dog
asking
didn't
about
do
it. Hold on.
All right. So that tells you everything that you need to know about this investigation. To me, what that sounds like is they are not looking into every stone and turning over every leaf. And I wonder why. Okay? I wonder why before they even did an autopsy or any type of investigation into his death that they immediately said that there was no foul play. And I wonder why a month later after the death of Nolan Wells that there still has not been a search of the boat that he was on. I wonder why these things are happening. Now, my guess,
You're asking a valid question, you're just asking the wrong people. That's a question for law enforcement.
To your knowledge, has it been searched? Have you been told by anyone that it was searched?
I don't have any involvement in the law enforcement.
And see how these lawyers always deferring you to somewhere else? Well, that there is a question for law enforcement. All of a sudden, they can't answer no questions because you're not law enforcement. You can't speculate. You can't assume. You can't have common sense. Right? Oh, man. Let's get a little bit more of this. These two goofies sit and try to pull a wool. And then we're going to get into this Tisha Tales before we get up out of here. Let's go.
I don't have any involvement in the investigation.
I can tell you guys no.
You can take it how you want. We're conducting our own investigation.
Attention, homeowner.
All right. So, bullshit. Anyways, so also another thing that they talked about in this interview was the polygraph test, right? So remember when Tatum went on Nancy Grace and he said, oh, all of the boys except for Warren did a polygraph test, and then he went back and changed it and said that it wasn't a polygraph test when Nancy pressed for more, and she was like, oh, so they took a polygraph test, and then he went back and he was like, oh, it was a stress analysis test. Well, we found out also, in addition to this, that Tatum is a fucking liar, because even more than Warren, okay, even other boys also did not take this supposed polygraph test that he want us to believe all of the boys took the test except for Warren. Now, what they did say is Katie took a test, and guess who isn't out here on a press run? Katie. Guess who is not grifting off of Nolan's death? Katie. Guess who went down there and took a stress analysis test? Katie. Guess who is supposed to be just as scrutinized as them, but yet seems to have the less
some type of force field around her, because Katie don't seem to have to do nothing but I mean, where's Katie at? Like, let me see, because what you got to say?
To gain in trying to prove herself. Katie.
Basically, she said he went with y'all, and that's it. She ain't got nothing else to say. With that being said, now that you know that your boy the Brando knows, let's get into this.
Listen, we have some good news in the Nolan Wells case. Well, at least it's good for Nolan's mama. You guys, breaking news in the Nolan Wells case, and this really does change everything. And I believe the people that might be worried about it have only themselves to blame. And by themselves, I mean all the interviews, all the talk shows, and the narrative that they seem to be trying to control and pass. What am I talking about? You guys, Ben Crump has issued a groundbreaking statement. Again, this is different than all the statements because they have the power of the National Black Congressional Caucus, and they are calling on the federal government for an independent investigation. And it appears to me, at least in my opinion, the reason they're calling for this is because...
That's a fact. I think we need it right now. Cash Patel, where you at, baby boy? Y'all don't see what's going on right here in this situation, man? You would think the feds would have stepped in without us having to put pressure. My man, you see clearly, if you're good at your job, you see that these people ain't doing what they supposed to be doing. They botching the investigation. Y'all gotta see what we see. Cash Patel, where you at? What you doing, man? You ain't on the case? Huh? Clearly y'all see what's going on here. But yet nothing. Unbelievable, man.
Those attorneys for Nolan's supposed friends have been running amok. And by running amok, I have some examples. They have been all over talk show radio, conservative podcast, conservative radio, conservative, or I'm sorry, or how do you call that? Or, sorry guys, or as I like to call it, conservative YouTube going crazy with this narrative of one, they suing the whole world, so everybody needs to shut up and sit down. And once they thought they had everybody shook by being sued for, I guess, giving their opinion, then they started going on telling stuff that there's no way they could have known, which leads me to believe that they are flaunting either one, they're lying, which if they are, I'm sure that's something with their bar license. Two, you're flaunting the fact that the investigation has been compromised, because at this point, nobody knows what happened to Nolan. But we cannot take people's words that nothing nefarious happened until we get all the evidence. Do you know what I'm saying? In a disappearance, everybody around them is a suspect, even if it hurts the parents' feelings, even if it hurts the boyfriend's or the girlfriend's feelings. Until we find out what happened, everybody must be treated at arm's distance. And investigations, as the family has been told, are completely independent and top secret. Well, what are the other people doing? Why are they involved in the investigation? They said they didn't do anything. They said they're out of it. So why are you even involved in this investigation? Again, I have the actual podcast clip that I think this is the clip that broke this camel's back. But in the meantime, let's read Attorney Ben Crump's statement. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. Oops. I'm just going to make this a little bigger on the screen. Okay. This is from Ben Crump. Reverend Al Sharpton. Reverend Al Sharpton put his name in there because he was like, y'all gonna sue me? Let's go to deposition. I already know. The way down to Mississippi, baby. I will meet you at the deposition. Anyway, it's Ben Crump, Reverend Al Sharpton, Congresswoman Lucy McBath, and the parents of Nolan Wells. They're holding a news conference as Congressional Black Caucus calls for a Department of Justice review. Baby, they said, y'all can play these Mississippi games someplace else. Because the funny thing is, I do honestly believe that everybody that is currently speaking out is acting like the deck's already set. To me, they don't seem to be like at all they're worried about criminal charges. They seem like, to me, they seem to be getting into a defensive mode for a civil wrongful death suit due to the negligence of leaving Nolan behind or something or other. I think they're preparing, okay? This is taking it out of Mississippi courtrooms. This is taking it out of Jackson County, Mississippi. This is taking it out of the Ocean Springs courtroom, where not only do they control everything, and by control everything, I mean the local government controls everything, but the local government is very, very, very close, good friends. The mayor, like they're all close, good friends with some of the people that are coming out saying these things about they know exactly what's going on in a confidential private investigation. You guys, this is escalation on another level. All right, let's get into this. Also, I will be live streaming the press conference, so if you're watching this video, come back and join me around 11. Ben Crump usually starts his press conferences 15, 20 minutes after he says he's going to start. You know, they have to set up and stuff, but join me at 11. We'll be yapping. I'll show you some new evidence while we're waiting for Mr. Crump and everybody else to come talk. Anyway, right? Atlanta, Georgia, August 12, 2026. Nationally renowned civil rights and personal injury attorney Ben Crump, that's right, will join the parents of 18-year-old Nolan Wells, Reverend Al Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network, and Congresswoman Lucy McBath. She's a Democratic Congresswoman of Georgia, at a news conference in Atlanta on Thursday. They will amplify the newly issued call from the Congressional Black Caucus for the U.S. Department of Justice to open an independent federal review of Nolan's disappearance and death. Now, again, they are making a call, but if you know anything about America, when the National Black Caucus for the U.S. Department of Justice makes a call that they need to open this up for an independent federal review, baby, I think it's going to happen, all right? They said in a letter to the U.S. Attorney General Todd Blanche and the FBI Director Kash Patel, You know what? Let's not change. But remember when Cash Patel and that whole whether he was drinking or not thing? Anyway, Congressional Black Caucus Chair Yvette D. Clarke, she is New York, right, District 9, and caucus members urged the U.S. Department to determine whether a separate federal investigation, including a possible civil rights investigation, is warranted. That's right. Ocean Springs, in my opinion, has been doing everything they can, and Mississippi have been doing everything they can to be like, no, like this is our investigation. Things will happen on our timetable. Even the fact that the local sheriff told a grieving mother, you don't run anything. We're not going to have this investigation on your timetable when she's asking for simple answers like, hey, can I get an autopsy? Can I do this? They were all like, please, we run this. We'll do it how we want. Let's also not forget that a grand jury investigation could take a year. There's no time limit on grand jury investigations. All right, they could really run out the clock until all this dies down in the media. This takes away the control that they had. This takes away them owning all the information, doing it their pace. And also, if what these lawyers are saying are true, leaking information for a case that's supposed to be super confidential. Anyway, right? That's right. Let's repeat this. The Justice Department, they want them to determine whether a separate federal investigation, including a possible civil rights investigation, is warranted. The lawmakers wrote the Nolan's family has waited more than a month for basic answers and should not be forced to grieve in an information vacuum, and gave the department 7 days to explain what action it has taken or intends to take. That's right, you got to put these mofos on a timeline. They said the FBI is already assisting local investigators, which is a good point. You're already saying you're assisting local, your finger should already be on what's going on. Let's also not forget that in the fact of a month, they have not been able to give Nolan family any answers, access to any autopsy, access to their independent autopsy is still waiting for them to give them access to their findings of the autopsy so they can close their autopsy out. They are waiting. And for what? Because Chris Cuomo got up there without showing any sources and said, oh, he already saw the autopsy. Nolan drowned and he was heavily intoxicated. Where's your sources? Where's this? Since you know so much, why don't you show us a portion of the autopsy you saw? Why don't you tell us what you read? Or was it just word of mouth? So people can come back and be like, who said that? We already know that the lawyers up there are bragging left and right that they know.
No. First of all, we don't believe nothing Chris Cuomo or his older brother, whatever his name is, we don't believe nothing they say. When you think of the Cuomos, think of COVID, right? Think of COVID. What did they do at that time? The Cuomos, the two brothers. One was the governor of New York City at the time, and the other one was just some lonely news reporter for, I believe, ABC or some nonsense, right? What did they do? They convinced us to stay inside and stay 6 feet apart. Why they did what? What did Chris Cuomo's neighbor do? Blew him up for being outside as he was telling us to be inside. We don't believe nothing that man has to say, man. So I don't even know why he's so prevalent all of a sudden.
What's on Nolan's phone? They know what the police have, and they know that Nolan's family has not been cooperating with the police. Really? How would you know that? You're either lying, right? You're in talks with the police and you actually are telling the truth, in which case the police have compromised the investigation. Or 3, you're listening to somebody that is lying to you, but you're a lawyer, a practicing lawyer. You know with that whole thing that's shady. And one of them said they'll even bet their reputation on it. So here we are. Anyway, they said Congresswoman Macbeth, who represents Georgia and serves in the Congressional Black Caucus, will stand with Nolan's family in Atlanta. She entered public life after her 17-year-old son, Jordan Davis, was shot and killed in Jacksonville, Florida. Damn. It's a hell of an origin story, right? Nolan disappeared during July 4th boat trip to Horn Island, Mississippi, and his body was found in the morning of July 6th. An independent autopsy commissioned by the family classified both the cause and manner of death as undetermined. Findings from the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office have not been publicly released. All right, so now we got the Congressional Black Caucus. We have calls for a civil rights investigation and an independent federal investigation. I do believe these calls will be answered. Hear me out. For the people that say, oh, it's racism, oh, it's a good old boy network, yeah, but the thing is, usually those good old boy networks are very, very closely associated with the town, with the county. Do you know what I'm saying? Just like everybody speaking out about the case aren't from Ocean County. I'm not from Ocean Springs. They're not from Jackson County. You know what I'm saying? So I do think this is a chance on a national level to be like, nah, y'all doing too much. You went too far. We got to see this. We will see what happens. Here is what I believe actually was the straw that broke the camel's back and why so many people are getting involved. Because listen to what these boys' attorneys are saying. They are not just saying they're innocent. They're saying that Nolan's family is the problem. They're saying Nolan's family isn't cooperating. They're saying that Nolan's family, and they have inside information directly from the police. Listen to this, right? This is a clip that just came out on the Dan Abrams show. You know, it is a conservative podcast, this, that, and the third, where they had callers in and they had callers asking questions to the boys' lawyers. Listen to what they had to say. Hold on.
Mo in Houston. Mo, how you doing? What do you got?
Hey, Dan, love the show. I appreciate you gentlemen for coming on as well.
Thank you.
A couple quick things. Was Nolan Wells, were there messages missing out of his phone? And the second thing is
Absolutely
photos
not.
have come out. Yeah, they're saying that there were messages missing off of his phone. His phone was wiped. And another thing, there's pictures of, like with modern day with people with cell phones and social media, there's pictures with adults on that boat. There, in one of the adults they're even saying is like an affluent crowd, judge, businessman. They were saying there's just kids, but they're adults there.
Right, but here's the thing they're saying.
These are the lawyers. Absolutely not. How would you know that? How would you know that? But he continues. Let's keep going.
I don't know who the they is, but go ahead. Tyler, you want to take this one? Or
Yeah,
Ed?
I'd love to.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I saw a headline a few weeks back that said Ben Crump and the family is going to allow the Jackson County Sheriff's Office access to Nolan's phone.
Listen.
You know what I never heard? I never heard him follow through with that. I have reason to believe, and I do believe, that they have not cooperated with law enforcement. I do not think that they have turned in Nolan's phone. And I'm willing to bet my reputation on that.
I do not believe, and I have reason to believe, that they have not cooperated with the police. How would you know that unless somebody from the police told you they haven't cooperated? Right? Not even that. You're so sure of it, you'll bet your reputation on it. Okay.
I don't think they've cooperated at all. They do not.
Not even that. They're not just not cooperating by turning the phone in. They're not cooperating. These are the attorney for the boys that say they're innocent. And apparently Nolan's family is on trial because now he's saying he's betting his reputation that they're not even cooperating with the police.
Not have Nolan's phone. They haven't had access to Nolan's phone. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department has it. So how can you say that there's text missing or there's photographs missing? Our boys had no reason to do anything with Nolan's phone.
You crazy. Your boys had no reason to do anything to Nolan's phone. Are you out of your freaking mind? They had every reason. That's where the evidence is at, man. They don't know what type of pictures Nolan been taking all day. Maybe Nolan been feeling the heat. He just been documenting the whole day. Just in case something happened to me, man, they gonna know. Huh? It's funny how y'all wound up with his phone, right? But he's the only one that's dead and gone with a missing phone, right? But for some reason, y'all can't seem to grasp the fact that that was Nolan saying, give me back my phone, huh? But y'all would believe Tristan is the one saying, give me back my phone, when he had no reason to be saying, give me back my phone. None. As we already explained more than one time. The man said he was standing in the water with his girlfriend, right? He told her, all I want is a beer. She said, go get it yourself, you bozo, right? And swam off. And then he got into a fight. And his uncle told him, get on the boat. So why would he be asking anybody for his phone if he was just in the water? Clearly, they don't have their phones in the water, right? Especially now if you're fighting. Why would you be saying give you your phone? We don't know. But anyway, let's go.
Other than to give it back to Christine.
They had no reason. That's not answering. Why would you say that? They had no reason. You want us to find reasons? Also, then to give it back, they didn't even tell her she had it. They had to go and kick in the door and get it back. They weren't even going to tell them they had Nolan's possessions. Like, give me a break. And that's after you called his mom and said he was missing. Why didn't you actually tell the mom, hey, the reason I think is because he doesn't even have his phone on him. They didn't even tell, and they knew that was his phone because when they cleaned the boat, they made sure that they took the boat off and the phone, and they knew it was Nolan's phone. So why didn't you tell them? Why didn't you tell them that you had it? And that's why you think he's missing. But, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
And her friends later that night. So anything about missing text messages or Snapchats is completely false.
Okay. Edward, go ahead.
I'll just add something. And again, this is why you have to be on the ground there or in the water.
So we have to be on the ground there and in the water. I find that hard to believe that we have to be there on the ground and in the water. You understand? Especially when we got all these air view pictures of the whole island. Why we need to be there on the? Because we could literally. We don't have to be there, man. Especially if people were being honest about what really happened. We definitely wouldn't have to be there. You have to believe that your client sounds crazy at this point, man. If at this point, if you don't believe that your clients sound crazy, you're a bad lawyer, man. Like, I will fire you guys, man. Like, I'm paying you for this. You're not really clarifying anything. You're letting us get up here on the stand and run our mouths and put our foot in it over and over again. So, yeah, that part.
When I went to the island, when I was fortunate enough to have that opportunity on Friday, one of the things you notice right away is that there's no dock. There's not a boat launch, there's not a dock. When you get to the island, you drop anchor 50, 100 feet offshore, whatever the case may be, and you swim to shore. That right there is one reason why many folks don't bring their phone.
You dropped anchor. We see the kids standing in front of the boats and the water's only up here. And we see the actual pictures where the boats were almost to shore. What are you talking about? You swim 50 to 150 feet. What are you talking about? Is this Castaway?
Onto the island. And that's also another reason why.
Here's the picture right here. You see how close these boats are to the island? What are you talking about? You see how the kids are in front of the boats and the water's only coming up to here? What are you talking? Again, they are saying things that we can show that can't be the matter. And these are the actual boats that are actually docked, the boats that are in question.
You may not have as many photos or content as you might expect. And I will also just say another thing. Quite frankly, people go out there to have a good day. They go out there to have a good time, to unplug, to unwind, to get away from the world. They're in the sand, they're in the surf, they're in the water. It's not a cell phone environment.
About the Nolan Wells family. Did you hear the...
Listen, it's not a cell phone environment. My whole point of the matter is, yeah, It looks like them running their mouth. I guess they thought Ben Crump was going to get into the mud. And no, baby, he's actually bringing in independent investigators, and we are looking into civil rights. I know this is not the climate for civil rights, but baby, when you are this sloppy, again, who did what to Nolan? Nobody knows, but it's beginning to look more and more and more like something actually happened to Nolan. Anyway, y'all, listen, join me at about 11 for the Ben Crump live stream. You know we're going to be listening. You know we're going to be yapping. And I have some more evidence to show you guys. This is going to be a heavy Nolan update day. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Facts. This is going to be a heavy Nolan Wells update date. And like Tisha Sale said, we'll see you later. And we just glad today is not Monday, you heard?
Monday is the worst, first day of the week. Always seem to feel I never get enough sleep. Tuesday's the one day, feels like a Sunday.